and it's just because like you just close yourself off to everything, and it's like, because I don't know, it just feels like you just have time to just think about yourself and not about, oh, I have to do this when I go to work, oh, I have to write up this assignment or whatever. You just don't think about anything else but you and why you're there on that floor at that moment. And it's just really, it's peaceful. And I know it just sounds really cheesy and stuff, but it is actually really peaceful, and it's just nice. I don't know, I don't really know how to explain it, but yeah, it is emotional. I understand why people would assume these things, because obviously if you don't know something about something, you only pick up the bad things and you start making your own assumptions and all of that. But like I've felt like, especially because I've grown up in such an environment where there are lots of Muslims and a lot of people do know what's what, so that I've not really had any sort of prejudice towards me being a Muslim woman as such. I think just being a woman in itself does cause trouble anyway, and I think that being a Muslim woman wouldn't really make a difference to any hassle that you would get. Like, since reverting, I haven't had any extra hassle, any extra issues in terms of what people say or judge about me. So in terms of a personal level, I don't really have any experiences there. But I don't know, I don't feel like women in Islam are like oppressed, as people say, because how are they oppressed? What, because they have to cover up? How does that mean that they can't do what they want to do and do what they need to do in life? Just like, I understand some people are like, oh, you have to cover up so the men don't look at you, and then they go, well, men shouldn't be looking at you anyway. And I'm like, but they shouldn't, because it says that. The first thing it says is that men shouldn't be looking. So, and then they'll be like, well, if men can't control where they put their eyes, why do I have to cover up? No. And it's just like, it's quite funny, because the type of people that say that are those who want to go out dressed in certain ways to attract attention of men anyway. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a bit like, I just look at these, like mostly like girls and stuff like that say that to me, and I'll just look at them and like, you don't know what you're talking about, which is, it's not meant as rudely as it came out, but just like, they're like, when, say if they go out and they're wearing such and such, and I'm like, you're wearing what you're wearing to attract the attention of men. And they're like, no, I just want to wear it because it makes me feel good. I'm like, why does it make you feel good? And then it does go back to the fact that it makes them feel good because they get that attention. And the whole idea of dressing modestly is to not get that attention, because it's quite funny, because girls, when they get this attention, if the guy's a good-looking guy, they'll like the attention. But if the guy's not such a good-looking guy, then they'll be like, oh, why are you looking at me for? No. Which is it's weird. Like, and they honestly, it makes me think you really actually don't know what you're talking about. And so that's why I think when these people have these ideas of women in Islam, I just think it really doesn't affect me, because you really don't know what you're talking about. So it doesn't bother me. Like, I don't get offended by anything. None of the people that I know get offended by it. So let them think what they want to think. I'm still going about my daily life. I'm still going to get my career. I'm still going to live my life. So if that bothers them, then it doesn't bother me really. I went to an all-girls school to start with, so I don't have like any influence of guys around me, whatever. So I was brought up in my own little bubble. My parents are fairly strict, being Asian. So I'd go to school, come home, do my homework, go to sleep, go to school the next day. That was my life. And then I went to sixth form, and there were boys there all of a sudden. And then me and my girl mates, we were all, got really excited. Oh, there are boys here, whatever. And then from then, my life just kind of went, I got distracted, because I was like always wanting to hang out with my mates and stuff like that, because I had a bit more freedom than I did in school. So then when I got to uni, it was even worse, because obviously I'd moved out for uni, and then I didn't have my parents' control under me, that kind of stuff. So then for about the first couple of months, I just went out all the time, like lots of different mates, these kinds of things, like hanging around bad influences. But at the time you just think, oh, it's a new experience, I'm in uni now, I have to do this, I have to do that. And then I didn't like it. Like, I'd go along, if I was asked to come out, I'd be like, yeah, I'll come out, whatever. But I didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't like the idea of going to a club and having like sweaty, dirty people like near in my personal space. I didn't like that at all. And it's very different for girls going out because, like I said, girls will always get that attention. Like, guys can go out and have a good time with their mates. It's not a problem. But girls, there will always be a guy trying to touch you. And I didn't like that at all. I really didn't. And then I just thought, this whole lifestyle in itself, it's not me. Like, I'm a very kind of at-home kind of person. I like to, if I go out with my mates, I'll go to one of their houses and we would chill out, get some food, you know, watch the TV, just something just at home where you could just relax. I don't like having to dress up and go out and end up somewhere you don't know where you are the next day with like a hangover, things like that. That's really not me. So I think that's why a lot of my friends were like, oh, we always knew you'd come along this path because you were going there anyway. So I know I don't want to do that. So then what do I want to do? Like, and that's when I started thinking, what is the point of me being here? Like, why am I here? What am I going to do with my life? Like, okay, I'll graduate, I'll get a job, I'll get a family. But then why? Like, what's the point of me having to do that? Where am I going to go afterwards? Like, that kind of stuff. I started thinking a lot. And that's when I got into the whole reading thing. I started asking my friends about what they believed, and just because I asked a lot of different people and they all gave me lots of different responses, and I think I stayed away from people who are more likely to push their opinions on me because I really don't like that at all. Like, I want to be able to think for myself. I don't want to be forced to think a certain way. So I have a really, really good like circle of mates who all they do is push me to think. They don't push me to think the way they think. They push me to just think about myself. And that's helped me a lot because it made me sort of really try to realise what I want from life and what I want from myself. And then, like, because it's easy to know what you don't want, but it's hard to know what you do want, isn't it? So that took me a while to just kind of get the guts to kind of go, this is it. I think, like, my family, in terms of what they want, like what my parents want from us, is not so much us having a family, us being more career orientated. So they want us to do well at school and get a good job and blah, blah, blah. So, but in terms of thinking about stuff like philosophical stuff or things like that, we've never really done anything. So I think myself, I'm probably the only one in my family who's ever thought about anything as in what is out there. So I think I myself would be atypical, but not so much my family. Like, they just kind of think, oh, make sure you sort yourself out for the future, so that make sure that you get a good income and that you can look after yourself and stuff like that. That's mainly their concern, really, yeah. But like, I don't know, I've always just wanted to be, I've always found that I was different. So I guess that's why I'm where I am now. I understand the reasoning for having to need to get good grades, because especially in this society, you can't just go on, you know, with nothing. The system works that you have to do this exam, you have to do that exam to get that position. So, and I like studying, which is why I'm still studying, and I do want to go into further research. I still want to continue studying. So that's not been a problem for me. It's just that I've always found time outside of my studying to look at other things, whereas I know my sisters, they wouldn't. So their sole focus is on their careers, is on their studies, where mine's kind of half and half, really. I never saw it as, oh, I'm not doing well at uni, so I have to look for somewhere else. I always kind of felt that it came hand in hand. And I felt like since I have something else to hold on to, for example, like religion-wise, it makes me want to work harder, because it makes me more thankful for where I am. And then if I'm more thankful for where I am now, I'm less likely to throw it away by messing around or not doing my assignments or not studying or whatever. So I think they both come hand in hand, and they make me stronger in whatever it is that I want to do. It was difficult at first because I didn't tell a lot of people, because I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was doing, and I didn't want people to start pushing too many facts at me, because then it would be just like overload. So then I went into it slowly, and I remember it was 2 years ago, just before Ramadan. So then I thought, let me try fasting, see how this is. So I tried that, and then that was all right. Like, I didn't find it hard, because I know a lot of people always complain to me, oh, I'm fasting, oh, it's so hard, I can't do this, I can't do that. But it's not really that hard. I don't know if because I guess I'm really small anyway, so I don't need to eat all the time. But it wasn't that hard for me, and I enjoyed it because when it came to time like to break fast or whatever, I was much more happy to eat the food that I had. So I think that is one of the main reasons why you fast in the first place, so you can appreciate what you have. So and I thought this is nice, like I felt like I was doing something right in my life. Because before it was kind of just like a big blur, like I didn't know what I was doing or why I was doing it. So then when I had like, after that first Ramadan, I just felt, you know, this seems right for me, let's continue, let's see how it goes. And then it was about November, December-ish, it was around Eid al-Qadir, is that what it's called? Yeah, and then I came, because my friend had mentioned this mosque to me in Maida Vale in Kilburn, and then so I thought, oh, let me check it out, see what it's like. And then they had a talk there, and then that was like the first ever talk I've ever been to, and I was really nervous because I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. But I really enjoyed it, and I think that was the most defining moment for me in terms of knowing that I am there, that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because it all made sense. Like, I didn't understand a lot of what he was saying, but the stuff that I did understand, it made me really click inside me, and I just thought, this is it, this is how I know. And from then on, I started talking to people from that mosque, and I started going back then. I started Arabic classes there, and I don't know, it just, every time I went back, I just felt stronger and stronger, as in, this is what I'm doing, I know I'm doing this right. And then a few months afterwards, I started telling people, like more people, like outside my intimate friend circle. And then, as I expected, they started trying to push their ideas on me. But by that time, I kind of knew where I was already. I knew what I believed in. I knew what I felt was right for me. So everything that they were saying, in my head, I can always, like, if they said something that I felt wasn't exactly right, in my head, I always had sort of a counter argument for it. And then having something to go against what they're saying kind of made me feel, I actually know what I'm talking about. And I've done my research. Like, I know what I'm supposed to believe and things like that. And it made, every time that happened, it just made me feel a lot stronger in myself. Like, and I know that I was not brainwashed because hardly anyone knew about it. I didn't have anyone to brainwash me. And I just knew that I was going along the right way because I could come up with the right arguments for when people say nonsense to me. And from then on, like until this day, it's just these little things that make me feel like I know what I'm doing. In terms of my family, it's complicated, so I don't want to talk to them about it because it's complicated. But like, I know what you mean, because like when I because my story is a very interesting story, as in reverting. And so when I meet new people and they ask me, oh, you know, what religion you are, and I'm like, oh, I'm Muslim, blah, blah, blah. They get really interested, so then they tend to ask me about my story. So then I'll be like, so-and-so, this happened. And then while I don't feel like I'm preaching because I'm just telling them how my personal opinion, I feel a sense of, I don't know, relief or something, I don't know. I just feel really nice to know that I'm sort of dismissing any negative views that they might have had in the past about Islam. And then, because, for example, if I meet people that I've met, if I've known people for a few months or whatever, they know how I am. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, so, you know, you're Muslim, you're not, you know, a terrible person, you're not going to go around this, that, and the other. And I'm like, no, because whatever, da-da-da-da, it says this, it says that, you're supposed to be like this, you're supposed to be like that. And then the fact that I sort of told them something that they didn't know to start with, that does make me feel like I'm doing my bit, as it were. So, yeah, I do feel sometimes, oh, I should tell people, but I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to start going around and saying to people, you should do this and you should do that. Definitely not. But if people do ask me, I will tell them my opinion, and most of the time it has left a positive impact, so that makes me happy so far. Well, the Quran in itself, it's something that is like, makes me really emotional. Like, obviously I can't read the Arabic, so I can't appreciate it in its fullness. But like, even the English translations, even though I know it wouldn't be perfect, but even just from someone outside reading on that, you'd think, wow. Like, I know a lot of it, and it all just does make sense. And I think that's what I like most about Islam, the fact that it makes sense. It's very logical and very rational. And I am a very rational person. Like, there has to be a